guys, this is F1 Podcast. We're doing episode 101 today, Max, and there's a little bit of rain outside, so if you hear some background noise, that's what that is. And mate, this episode, there's so much to talk about. I can't actually remember an off-season that had so much news that was so excited. I'm pumped up, baby. I can't believe it. It's great.
Mate, 6 weeks to go until the season proper starts. Cars are being released even as we speak. And it's boding well for 2009.
All right, we've got a few things to talk about, and the news that's been most recent in the last few days has been about Honda. We've done a couple of episodes where we've talked about Honda, and we weren't confident, Max. But apparently, behind the scenes, there's been lots going on, which doesn't surprise me, mate. And there's rumours now that Jensen and Bruno Senna are going to be driving for the new team, and that a number of Bruno's personal sponsors are going to be adorning the car, mate. Which is great news for everybody, really, I think.
Yeah, look, it'd be terrific to see Senna lining up on the grid. I've been pretty strong in my comments that I just think it's too late for the reincarnated Honda. But I was buoyed by the news read overnight that about $30 million has been raised by Senna's personal sponsors, and we might actually see them on the grid at some given juncture this year. It'd be great to see this reincarnation on the grid at Melbourne.
Yeah.
I understand powered by Mercedes engines, if that is the case.
Which would mean that 6 cars this year are powered by Mercedes engines, which that's a lot of engine development, mate.
You bet. But it'd be great to see Jensen Button lining up on the grid. I mean, he's too good a driver not to be on the grid. And I think it'd be wonderful to have the Senna name back. So let's hope that this consortium or whoever it is gets the cash together, and we can see Button and Senna on the grid in 2009.
There's so many unanswered questions, mate. What's the team going to be called? How is it that they can actually develop a chassis around a Mercedes engine so quickly? And I don't really understand how they can do that. I would have thought that there's certain logistics that they have to go through
sure.
to get on the grid, and then there's probably 6 or so weeks that they just need to get cars on the trucks and actually get them on planes and send them to Australia. So it's a big job for them, and I really hope that they are actually able to get on the grid. Like you said, mate, I'd love to see Bruno on the grid this year, and Jensen as well. He deserves a slot on the grid, so
for sure.
I certainly hope they make it. As to how quick they are or how competitive they are is another question.
It's the great unknown. I mean, you look at Force India when they went from Ferrari power plant to Mercedes. They had to redesign a hell of a lot of stuff to accommodate the Mercedes engine. I mean, we're 6 weeks away from the season starting, and there's still nothing confirmed about the new Honda or whatever it's going to be called. So to me, I'm still very sceptical, but I'm optimistic that someone will step in and buy them. And my bid failed. I bid a couple of $100 million, and I got nowhere. Pep and Max F1, but they didn't like that. So I'm hoping whoever comes in and buys them gets on the grid ASAP.
Yeah, exactly. All right, mate. Next thing on our list is to talk about the Red Bull. We've already made some comments on the channel, so a few of you probably already know our opinions on the new Red Bull. And it was one of those things that Webber before the Red Bull was launched said that it was a saucy looking car, and I was very impressed with what Adrian Newey had done with the new Red Bull. I thought it was a great looking car given the regulations, mate.
Yeah, he's done a few things differently to some other designers. Which is great. I mean, I was really buoyed by Newey's comments that he loves regulation changes because it gives him much more scope to do things, which I thought was an interesting comment because I thought it would have narrowed them down. But anyway, it's a new set of challenges, and he's come out with a, under the 09 regs, a decent looking car, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was wonderful to see Mark Webber pumping out 80-odd laps.
83 laps without problem for him, and also without problem for the car as well. So it does look good.
They're quietly confident with the reliability of the car, minus a few glitches, which is normal in testing. But the car seems to be pretty much on the money from what little testing we've seen. But hopefully it bodes well for Red Bull this year. But as we say every year, testing means bugger all really. But it was just great to see Webber back in the car.
Yeah, Vettel had some problems, I think the day before. He had a gearbox problem, I think.
Yep.
But when I looked at that car, what I found interesting, Max, is that the difference that some designers have taken. You've got the Red Bull, you've got the Ferrari, and the Toyota with quite a sharp nose, and then other cars like Renault and BMW with the fat nose. So obviously these designers are taking quite a different look. I know that
Different approach, yeah.
yeah.
Sure.
Some of them are talking about putting curves inside the front of the car for weight distribution and things, and that's why they've got the broader nose. I've got to say, just from a looks point of view, that I prefer the sharp nose. So the Ferrari and the Red Bull to me just look better. But as we always say, mate, what matters is the pace of the car. And the Renault, for example, might be fat, but it might be quick. You just don't know. But just to look at the Red Bull, I found it to be a really good looking car for the regulations, and even the side pods and some things that Adrian Newey has done with that car. Very nice looking car, mate.
Yeah, well, let's as you said, let's hope it's quick, mate, and arrives in Melbourne with Boba behind the wheel, flying like no one's business. And I'm really looking forward to seeing his partner this year, mate. It'll be a good battle between the Australian and the German this year, no doubt about it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, mate, let's move on to USF1. We had that big announcement. Yeah, that big announcement, which, kind of shocked me in a way, given the current environment that they were going to set up Peter Windsor and his
Ken
affiliates.
Anderson.
Yeah, setting up a team exclusively out of America, out of Charlotte in North Carolina, using US drivers, US technology, and I think it's a fantastic idea. I mean, we all know that we haven't had a US Grand Prix now, and that there's a big market that they can untap there in America, and I think that Peter Windsor and the others have seen that. And at first I thought, well, why are they basing the team out of North America? But then, of course, reading on the internet, since there's no testing, that you can't actually test mid-season, that the disadvantage, if you want to call it that, is not so great. You don't necessarily have to have your team based in Europe anymore. And I say good luck to them, mate. I really hope they do well.
Oh yeah, big time. And they've got a huge talent pool over in the United States as well to choose from for their drivers. I mean, a lot of drivers are in open wheeler categories, both in the United States and in Europe as well. But that Peter Windsor, he's a shrewd operator. He's been working on this for about 4 years now, and was quite surprised that it's just been leaked to the press now. So obviously there's a lot of fervour in the United States for their own Formula One team. And I mean, we've had a couple of great Formula One drivers from the United States. Andretti comes to mind straight away, and I really hope they make a go of it. They've got the talent and the know-how, no doubt. Otherwise, this thing wouldn't have got off the ground. And apparently, there's going to be more to follow on 24th of February.
And if the team is really based around US, then you can imagine the sort of sponsors that they could unlock and the sort of technology that they could unlock there. I think it's fantastic.
I think it'd be great, and it'll also be good for Formula One if Bernie and co get their head out of the sand and put another Grand Prix back in the United States. Could you imagine the publicity? A US branded Formula One team racing on home soil in the Formula One World Championship. That would be absolutely fantastic, and I think it'd be great for the sport.
Couldn't agree more, mate. All right, guys. Well, that's it for this episode. So we'll see you soon for the next one.
All right, guys. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Now I've watched his wildest dreams come true. Not one of them involved.